This dream is about an exchange I had with someone. I found him annoying. He would post poems, and I find that annoying, but I know I'm annoying myself, and I've done that myself. So I can't really complain too much. But anyway, his poem goes thus: I have nothing to declare, not important enough, no one would bother to care. And my comment to that was not even principles. You have nothing to declare, not even your principles. Perhaps there should have been a question mark. But if we are to declare anything about ourselves, it must surely be our principles. I know at customs at borders, we go through a customs inspection to see if we have any contraband and then we might be subject to some sort of excise for whatever we have brought in to the country. And for that we asked, do you have anything to declare? But what is the point of asking people to declare their principles? So we have the measure of them, don't we? I mean, that's the whole point. You want to know what this person before you that you're interviewing for a job or hoping will become your business partner or your spouse. You want to know what's important to them, what principles they have, and whether you approve of these principles. You know what you need to know what they are. It's possible that they could be lying. They might just know what kind of principles you are hoping that they have, and they'll just lie and pretend they have it. CVs are often such efforts to fit in with an employer's requirements, and pretend to have them. But I think if everyone was expected to declare their principles, it would put them on notice that they're being subject to scrutiny. So what are your principles? And it puts people on the spot, and I'm sure they don't like it because it does sound rather like a job interview. And I think I would like to conduct these job interviews. It'd be quite fun, perhaps in a philosophy department. And I think once upon a time people thought that was a very good way of getting the measure of a man. But as I've said earlier, these candidates might be lying about the principles they have. They might not, have the principle of exercising logic or telling the truth. But they'll claim that they are honest, and they'll claim that they're reasonable when in fact they're not. And once they know what you're looking for, they'll pretend to have these qualities that you require as an employer. So I would have thought at the very least you would want, whoever you're dealing with, whether as a long-term life partner, spouse, business partner, etc., you'd want them to be honest and reasonable and principled. And on the matter of principles, people would well, people have different ideas of what principles people ought to have. And if you go to the heart of the matter on the matter of principles, you're really asking them what kind of morality they espouse. And then again, they can just, pretend to be, whatever you're looking for. So, if you're looking for a Jew, Muslim or Christian or Buddhist or Hindu, that person who is wanting that job could perhaps lie about being a Hindu, Buddhist, Jew, Christian, or Muslim. Because sooner or later you will have, a list of particular principles that you want these people to hold. I suppose as an employer you would want honesty, punctuality, industriousness, having good time management skills and people skills and whatever it is that you're looking for. And eventually people would have an established list, I suppose. And then they would want a shorthand for it. So, people would want to, have a general measure of your honesty and reasonableness, and whether you have any sense of integrity at all, as well as your suitability to fill the position. And so this is the useful thing about religion. You can say, well, I am a member of, I'm an adherent of this religion, and this means I work on Saturdays or don't work on Saturdays, eat pork or don't eat pork, or drink alcohol and gamble or don't drink alcohol or gamble, and whatever it is that the particular package of principles you are looking for. I've got lost in that sentence. So I'm saying people are looking for a package of principles. So let's put it that way. And a package of principles, well, the biggest package of principles would be religion. And granted, some people might lie about being whatever religion you want them to be, but really not being a member of that religion at all. And how would you be able to tell if you're being lied to? And the answer is, of course, that if you know the list of principles that this person is supposed to have, you can tick it off one by one to say, well, is this person honest? Is this person reasonable? Is this person principled? What are his principles? Are they like the 7 no-eyed laws? I mean, so I guess if you had a choice, you would, and you were yourself a righteous Gentile, you would only hire other righteous Gentiles, but then you could have all these righteous Gentiles lying that they adhere to the 7 no-eyed laws. And they are that you mustn't murder, steal, commit sexual offences, eat an animal while it's still alive, and you are not an idolater and blasphemer. So, I mean, that person could say, well, no Christians then, because we know that Christians are idolaters and blasphemers who worship an executed blasphemer. So going back to the point I'm trying to make, when we have a question to ask, to save time, people will just kind of do a shorthand for it, and this explains why in the olden days people would just ask you your religion. You fill in a job application form, as well as your birthday, your sex, your name. You would be expected to declare your religion, and I suppose that would be all right if you're being accepted because you are the right religion, but maybe not so good if you are rejected because of your religion. Whether the reason is a good one, we don't know, but and I guess I'm proposing to bring it back. But then that will attract accusations of religious discrimination. But then I have said that I would repeal the Equality Act. And I suppose there will be employers who have a dim view of, I don't know, Hindus or communists or Buddhists, Christians, or whatever. Oh, so what was I trying to say? I guess I'm trying to say that if people are made to declare their principles, then it would be a quick way of knowing whether they do what they say. And this is important if you are making inquiries about the person's principles in order to assess their suitability to be your spouse or business partner or employee. So that's why principles are important, and I suppose it could be expanded into such a way as to give employers the means to be discriminatory on grounds of religion. But shouldn't this be their right? And if it makes certain people lie about their religion, might it not be a good thing in the end? Because it'll give a pretty clear idea about what the acceptable religion is, and encourage people to convert, and once they have converted, they will be expected to do what their religion says they must do as properly paid up members of a religious community. They would have to live in a way that is expected of a member of that community, and this is really the discipline that people need. And even if they don't really believe in it, they would have to kind of pretend, to believe by participating in religious festivals and places of worship, by being there. And what is the harm of it? I mean, I can predict a lot of people will say, "Oh, you're just." I mean, people would rather stay home and watch TV on a Sunday, and you're making them go to church or whatever. But this is what gives the group its identity. And this is really the distinction between organized religion and, well, not so organized religion. And I'm talking about the Eastern religions, where they have temples and they don't force you to come. It's just there if you're feeling a bit worried about your romantic life or your health or your money, then you'll just, trot along to the temple and make a few sacrifices and, feel a bit better after that. But that's not organized religion. It is ultimately the power of organized religion that has given the West its organizational skills to, well, take over the world. And that is really the crucial difference between, in a way, being compelled to believe in something or pretending that you believe in something, and not being made to do so. So this would be voluntarily taking up a burden. And I acknowledge that. But it's when you do this that you raise standards of morality and behavior. So if somebody says, I'm a righteous Gentile, I'm a no-hide, then you would expect them not to be practitioners of idolatry and blasphemy, and it would mean that they can't be Christian. And obviously they mustn't be murderers and thieves and sex offenders or eat animals while they're still alive. They might. But, if you put the whole package of the most no-hide religion, it would be Islam. So, Muslims, kind of get special treatment because they are, they have a religion that is most in conformity with the no-hide laws, and this is how Jews decide whether a Gentile is righteous or not. So I guess if you are a Gentile and you want to be righteous, you have to subscribe to these seven principles. And if rabbis were to rank the four Gentile religions according to their conformity with the no-hide laws, they would arrive at Islam. So Islam would be the most principled religion, and boy, does it have principles. And some people will find it restrictive and oppressive, but there it is. It is, the religion that is most likely to get you, I guess the most honest people who are less likely to be sex offenders. I mean that's a theory anyway. So when people talk about principles, they're really talking about morality and religion. And I think religion is a means for measuring the success of our morality. And this is what it's meant to be. It is a kind of shorthand for, you. What are you about? What motivates you? And what kind of behavior can I expect from you? And if you say you're righteous Gentile, then it's like, yeah, okay, I understand that you will, refrain from doing what the no-hide laws forbid. And if that's what I'm looking for, and this is what you really are, then we would be well suited. But just supposing I didn't think you were telling the truth when you said you're a righteous Gentile. I think maybe you're a bank robber, and maybe you are a murderer, and maybe you are a sex offender. And so to check this out, I would have to see I would have to observe your demeanour and, around things you might steal, and I guess people you might murder, or people you might be committing sexual offences against. And this is how the measure of the man is taken, through the principles a person identifies with and declares. I hope that made some sense. And what does this do with secular Quranism, you might well ask? I am saying that under secular Quranism, people can have their religion, and people can be discriminated against on account of their religion. Now, is this acceptable or necessary or a good thing? I think it would be a good thing to make people declare their religion, because then it becomes part of their identity, and they can have a good old think about, whether they like the religious identity that they inherited from their parents, or if they like to change it. So if we bring back what will in effect be religious discrimination, we are in a way, subtly trying to get people to do the right thing. It's like, well, if you want a good job, if you want to be considered respectable, this is the mainstream view. This is our, the current political orthodoxy, and you can choose to go with the flow, or you can swim against it, and your life will be harder. But you decide, and this would make our moral choices more relevant. After all, choosing your religion is making a moral choice. And once you choose your religion, I mean, even if you were lying about it and you said you were Hindu and you're not Hindu, and I mean, you would still, well, I don't want to be caught out in this lie, so I will have to, pretend I don't like beef, and, celebrate Diwali, or whatever it is, and like Bollywood, which is what you'd expect a Hindu to do. And these religious identity, this religious identity will put us in touch with, with a culture that that will either harm us or help us. So what is the situation going to be like in a secular Quranist regime? Let us call it a regime. And you might just be a Hindu or a Buddhist, going a Christian even, going about your business, and then you could lie, couldn't you? It's like, oh, I don't want to say I'm Christian, because then I'll just be disrespected. Maybe I'll lie about my religion. Maybe I'll pretend to be a secular Quranist, and that would be the kind of happy medium, because you're not really lying. You're kind of affirming your moral identity, and you are kind of being and you're still being honest. Now that's what I was trying to say. You still be honest, and you don't have to choose any of the other religions, which would require too great a commitment, and perhaps be too restrictive. and that was why you didn't want to do it. So I think this gives people a way out. If they're atheist or agnostic, they can still fall into line with secular Quranism, and that's the thing, they have to be anyway, because they live under a regime of secular Quranism. And so the state expects them to be secular Quranist, and they can grit their teeth and say, well, actually, I don't believe in all that rubbish. I'm really a nihilist and an atheist. And what secular Quranism says, it's fine. You be an atheist, you be a nihilist. We're not going to make you change your views. You can be whatever you like, but you have to be a secular Quranist. And then you just say you're a secular Quranist. But you could put Jew if you're proud of your Jewish identity, or put Muslim. It's like, oh, I'm not just a secular Quranist, I'm a proper Muslim. And that would allow your employees and maybe even future spouse to assess the quality of your morals. So that's all I want to say on the matter. I hope that made some sense. Thank you very much for your attention. I see. Okay, I will be talking about Quraniyu as we come up to December.